Hi everybody, this is episode 6 of MasterClass with Dennis Woodruff. I'm your host, Dennis Woodruff. I'm kind of telling my story and mixing in some good advice for people watching that have never been to Hollywood. Tonight we're talking about directing. Directing is something that it's hard to explain because first of all you have to have an overview of the whole script, and then scene by scene you have to make sure that your actors, even if they're unknown mostly, can actually pull off good scenes if you tell them what you want. And you can always do another take. Most actors, even myself, sometimes it takes 1 or 2 or 3 takes to get it right, to make it to where it's really good. Warren Beatty, I was on a set working on Bugsy, and he took 56 takes before he got it right. A lot of directors, who was directing too, a little bit, don't want to spend all that money on film, taking hundreds of takes, not that many, until they get it perfect. And you can't always fix it in editing. You got to get it right the first time, the second time, and the third time. But leave room for improvisation. Actors can improv very well. If they get the idea of the scene, they can kind of put their own spin on it, and you can go with that. I really like directing, and I think I'm good at it. Some people don't understand what I'm doing, or they think I'm an unknown. But once they work with me and they see the final outcome, they're very pleased, and they're like, wow, I didn't think you could do it. This is really good. And another thing about acting, directing, producing, writing, the more you do it, you become instinctive. You figure out a way, once you learn your craft, and you never quit learning, to keep growing and getting better at it. But basically, have confidence in yourself, and don't let people be negative and tell you, oh, you can never do that, you never be a great actor, whatever. Not that they do, but against all odds, the cream always rises to the top eventually, if you stick with it. And I have given up many times and left Hollywood, but I always seem to come back and try it again, try it again, try it again. I'm lucky that I've lived in the same place now, a little house, for 14 years, and the rent is cheap. That's very important. You don't want to be spending $1,700 to $2,000 a month for rent. If you could get a little tiny studio somewhere, that would be the way to go. I would recommend that. And then be in rent control like in West Hollywood. So they can't raise your rent very much. They only raise the rent when people move out and you move in. They try to get as much money as they can. Directing is a very instinctive thing, but it's pretty simple because you're, as the director, the eyes and ears and the camera. And you pretty much know if your actors are getting it right away when you're working. And a lot of times I've seen I can pull out a really good performance from actors that don't even think they're that good. And a lot of actors that are in big movies today, I would say 90% aren't even good, okay? And I see performances where they're on TV and they're on a talk show, they're showing a clip of their movie, and the reality is their performance really isn't that good. And people are accepting it because they don't understand that it's really not that good. So don't think that you need to look up to these big shot actors that have made it. A lot of them aren't really that good. I don't want to mention names, but even the best of the best, they make a lot of mistakes. So don't underestimate yourself as a director. I could go on any set and probably walk circles around any kid that has come out of college and studied filmmaking, AFI, USC, UCLA, all of them. And a lot of people, I could name 50 of them that are working because their parents are famous and they have connections. And that's not fair. That's not the fair way to be, okay? And I always believe that everybody deserves a fair chance. If you can hit home runs all day and you're convinced you could do it, then you need somebody to let you show them what you could do. And that's about playing fair. In the old days of the studios, especially with actors, people would line up for auditions. And I really don't like these casting directors nowadays that think they know it all. They're really not that good at what they do. I usually do my own casting. I know for a fact that David Lynch doesn't even try people out. He just looks at their headshot and tells the casting director, yeah, bring them in. And he's kind of disappointed. He told me that the casting director, Joanna Ray, and others don't even do their job and test these people out. But you gotta leave room for improvisation. It's just storytelling. That's all it is. You can imagine what it would be like to tell a story about someone who goes from here to San Francisco hitchhiking and the things that happen along the way. This is storytelling, and a lot of it is made up. So that's all I have to say. Have a nice evening, and we'll do more. Thank you.